Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. I'm Tony Haggerty at Haggerty10 on the Twitter handle, as you know, and I'm joined today by Ryan McGinlay at the Ryan McGinlay. Good morning, Ryan. How are you doing?
Yeah, I think it's a much better Monday morning than the ones that we've had the past couple of weeks. I would say, especially with regards to the results. I'm doing really well. It was a good weekend, so I can't really complain.
So it's a return to the happy Mondays, Ryan. Is that what we're saying?
I think so. I think so. We need to get Sean Ryder in because it's a
Excellent.
happy Monday.
I'd love to see Bez coming out that door there and playing his miraculous and whatever he's doing there, Ryan. It'd be great fun. For those of you who are up with the Happy Mondays banter there, yes, indeed. Celtic back to winning ways, Ryan. Back on the winning horse, back to saddle, 5-0 win over Aberdeen. We will talk about that and trophy presentation day and all that came with it. We'll talk about the women, we'll talk about Ange, we'll talk about everything, I guess, concerning the leather belts. But first and foremost, I'll just direct you to the ticker tape running along the bottom. And we always urge you to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Please think about taking out a subscription to the Celtic Way, and that will guarantee you unlimited access to everything that's written on the website and help us as we support top quality or provide top quality football journalism covering the club you love. We endeavour to do that. All for the click of a button, guys. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. There you go. Ryan, 5-0. Celtic 5, Aberdeen 0, trophy presentation day. As Ange said, they kind of do trophy presentation day well, don't they? 6-0 against Motherwell last season, 5-0 on Saturday. Great atmosphere, great performance, very fitting of the way Celtic have played this season. I think that's what pleased the manager most. 2 goals from Kyogo, 2 goals from O, 1 from Starfelt. Job's a good one. Brilliant tifo, Jockstein one end, Willie Maley the other end, and the phrase stand on the shoulders of giants. It was just, the whole day was just geared up for a celebration of what Anne said recently, of everything that was good about Celtic, and they didn't disappoint, did they?
No, not at all. It was a great collective effort, I would say, from everybody involved, from the manager to the players to the fans in the stadium. Everything just felt right on Saturday. Everything felt connected, and it felt as if it didn't matter what was going to happen on the pitch. It felt as if Celtic were going to win. You just knew that they were going to get back to their best. They were going to put on a performance ahead of next week. And they done that. You can usually tell in the first 5-10 minutes what sort of Celtic are going to turn up. And I just seen with some of the passing, some of the pressing, and the shots that we had. I mean, Kyogo had a shot 30 seconds into the game. That told you all you need to know. And knew we looked hungry. We looked in the mood for it. And I think there's a wee bit of anger as well, because I think they're a wee bit annoyed with how their performances have been recently. So you've seen that anger, and it was taken out on Barry Robson and his poor Aberdeen side because they couldn't lay a glove on us or a finger on us the whole afternoon. It was just a really, really dominant performance, much like what we've been used to seeing over the course of this season. It's the reason why we're champions. We put on a champions-like performance, and it was 5-0, but it could have been 6 or 7 quite easily as well. It was just one-way traffic the whole game, and yeah, I couldn't be more delighted for the team. They put on a show that was worthy of their champions tag.
Indeed, and lots of people coming in saying how they enjoyed the day. Ryan, take a couple of those comments. Chill pill, what a weekend, brilliant day on Saturday and a good one yesterday, and then one more game, he says. Agree with that, Chill pill. Morning, how you doing? Brian Roberts, morning, Brian, how are you, sir? Saturday ticked all the SC spectacular world display, superb display on the park, special speeches from Cal and Ange, plus super Sunday thanks to our Celtic women. Correct, agree with all of that. Leslie, happy Monday, folks. What a time to yourself. The boys and girls done us proud. Alan Woods, great to see the boys back playing well after that nonsense panicking over bounce. And Tam Mack, piling on the agony, putting on the style. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, scoring all the while. Morning, Tam. Hilton Feeks, morning, Helen. Normal service is doing free flowing, fast moving footy, boys and girls. Yeah. So I think everybody enjoyed it. I think they enjoyed the parties and the gala gate as well, Ryan. If you went along to that, I hope you enjoyed it and just bask in the glory of what your team have achieved this season. But as we say, Ryan, they have got one more game. And a big one, and it's the Scottish Cup final on Saturday against Inverness Caledonian Thistle. We'll preview that in the coming days, but the manager alluded to it. He's got one more game, and yes, he spoke about the fact that they were champions again. Didn't address any kind of future, Ryan. We'll come to that in a second. But first and foremost, any individuals in the performance, Ryan, that stuck out for you?
Yeah, I think there's about 3 or 4 that you could talk about. You could talk about the usual suspects in terms of like your sort of Rio Hatate, who had a really, really good sort of game. I know he's been kind of off the boil in recent weeks. I think he's just getting back from that injury that kept him out for a wee while. But there's a couple of times he was just on the ball, and the way he sort of manipulates the ball with his touches and his passing, he's just an absolute joy to watch. I was talking to somebody on Saturday, and it was like, imagine if you had Olivier Ncham, but with the work ethic, then you'd get Rio Hatate basically, because he feels like a luxury player, but you get the hard working style of him as well. He loves to press, he loves to try and get the ball off the midfielders. Graeme Shinnie was having an absolute nightmare against him. He just could not get near Rio Hatate whatsoever. Who else? Tomoki Iwata was really good at the back. He didn't really have to do too much defensively, but his passing was really good alongside Starfelt. As a Celtic defender now, I think you're not just judged on your defensive ability, but you're judged on your ability to pass out from the back. That's just the way the Ange Postecoglou's sides are set up to play. So, yeah, he had a really good game. Kyogo, obviously, brilliant. I could go through the whole team here, by the way. I feel like I could talk about everybody.
I'm just letting you have the floor, yeah, indeed. You are going through the whole
team. I think a special shout out to O. I mean, he was really putting on a good performance. I think before he scored these goals, he was being a presence at up top, and then he got the 2 goals that his performance really did deserve. That first goal, we were talking about it before we started, to place that header and at the side of the net, basically, not even the corner, just the side of the net with that power. I think we've got something special in O. I think there's a lot to work on. There's a lot of room for growth, but if we keep on nurturing him the way we're doing, then I think we'll have a right good player in our hands.
I did say that, from kind of first glances at him, I thought the raw ingredients were there, the raw material was there. The header he scored, the diving header against Hibs, I think it was, and I was like, yep, that really pleased me because it was the way he bust a gut to get there and made sure that it was his ball. But yeah, that header, there's an angle that you see it from, and it's pretty special. The way he gets it away from the goalkeeper and get that power on it and that direction and accuracy. And I think I did him a disservice. I think I gave him a 6 on my man-to-man ratings, but that was based clearly on the minutes that he was on the park. I meant to give him a 7, but I just get caught up in everything else I was doing a lot more. So I'll apologise to that was worthy of at least a 7 or an 8, my friend. But hey, we'll not split hairs about it. On you go.
Yeah, forgot to mention probably one of these standout performers too. I cannot believe I missed him out. You put Alistair Johnson back in that team. Oh, yeah, my goodness. You see the difference. That guy is he's like Carter Vickers, but a right back. He seems to just calm us down. Yeah. That you see the rest of the defenders were real, and Greg Taylor as well. To be fair, when you bring back your first choice fullbacks, the fullbacks are so important to the way that Celtic play with the inverted role. So when they're back in the team and fit and firing, you see a difference. And the centre halves look a lot more comfortable when they've got those guys next to them as well, passing the ball. So yeah, Alistair Johnson strolled it. I was gutted that he came off with an injury, but he's saying that he should be okay for the cup final. So I think if Alistair Johnson's in the cup final, it'll be a good day. I'm not going to say any more than that because I don't want to jinx it, but I think it'll be a good day if he's in that team.
I just think, as you say, I think the last couple of games, and you say themselves, 3 out your not recognised back 4 were missing. 3 out of them were back on Saturday, with the exception of Cameron Carter-Vickers. It showed, didn't it? So I've got some comments starred here because lots of people enthusing about the performance, Ryan. So we'll just jump into them. Mm-hmm. Peter Duffy, Johnson showed why we need him solid and steadfast. Couldn't agree with that more. Jill Pill, Hatate looked back to his best. You were saying, Marky saying Jota was awesome. He was unlucky with a free kick that hit the bar. Pete McGee saying the same as you, Ryan. Every Celtic player started living in a stormer. No passengers at all. Jill Pill, what a header it was. Pete McGee, morning Pete. That header by O was right out the top drawer. Right out the top drawer and into the top corner. Basically, excellent marquee, 2 top finishes from O. Thanks very much, guys, for... I'll read the comment, but I won't read the name. Can tell O's learning from Klinsmann as he was well lethal with his head. Thank you for that. Derek Crawford, his run round the wall for his second was very clever and a poacher's finish. It was actually. I noticed that at the time as well. Derek, that he kind of ran round the wall and was anticipating if Jota got it on target, it came off the goalkeeper, came off the frame of the goal, he would be in place. O's still a young boy, he very much is, Andrew, and we are hoping that he fulfills that potential because he seems to have plenty of it. And PPG and O is excellent when they come on. Yeah, more or less echoing our eye test, Ryan, what we were seeing as well. But as I've said before, the old Celtic way, contributors and commenters are a knowledgeable bunch. You do not argue with them. You do so at your own peril. You'll learn that as you go along. And Chilpel, Jota was gutted, he didn't score a free kick. He kind of was, wasn't he? Some free kick to the one he scored in the against Real Madrid.
That's what I said. You see, when he put the ball down, I was like, that is exactly the same area that he scored against Real Madrid. But I think it's got to be underlined how good a cross it was for O's first goal.
Oh yeah,
Jota,
yeah.
That's a phenomenon. I don't know what Aberdeen are doing. Why you leave Jota unmarked to put a ball into the box is you're asking for trouble basically if you do that.
And they got it.
Yeah, they just floated it into O, and O just put it away really well with his header. I think there's a lot of really encouraging performances, even from, I would say, from a sub-appearance, some really, really nice touches from Ben Summers. It's good to see him in and around the first team as well. Yeah. I thought a couple of the wee touches that he had, he looks really, really good on the ball, and I'm looking forward to seeing him more in pre-season. Hopefully he can make an impact and then sort of stake a claim to be on the subs bench more often for Celtic next season and then make it into the first team. I know it's baby steps obviously with him, but he looks a really good talent.
He does indeed. I was very impressed with his camera when he came on Saturday actually. Kyogo just resting up, he'll be fine, says Bunge McNugget. And Kaiser, morning Kaiser, how you doing? O's movement was outstanding. Yes. The movement of Kyogo before he went off and the movement of Mo when he came on were both outstanding. Jamie Young, Big O switched on. You can see it in the kid's eyes.
Yeah.
He's
hungry.
He's enjoying it, isn't he? I think he's just waiting to pounce and waiting for that opportunity. A bit like Giakoumakis when he was waiting to get a run of games. I think O's doing the same. He's certainly concentrating on the job in hand, isn't he? He's hungry. He wants to score goals. He wants to impress. And Tam Mack saying, "Oh, so many things to come from that lad." And Pete McGee, have to say, he didn't think Abada's performance looked like that of a guy. He didn't think much of Abada's performance. It looked like that of a guy who's on his way out soon. Time will tell on that, Pete McGee. But
it's a nice wee run he made in the first half. That run where he beat about 3 guys down the side.
And then did nothing with it.
I know. That's pretty much Abada in a nutshell.
I think at Celtic at times, yeah. But Derek Crawford saying he was superb in the first half. I thought he had a decent first half, but just faded really badly after that. So, He
took off at half time, to be fair. So,
yeah,
he did come off for Forest.
Yeah, I mean, I meant he kind of decent.
Later on in the
minutes. Thought he started on fire, but then just the performance we need before Hamden says Danny McCronin. I think it was. I think everybody's kind of a wee bit more relaxed going into Saturday now, Ryan.
Yeah. That it felt as if we had a wee bit of negative momentum with the past couple of results, but everything's been sorted out with that. A good resounding 5-0 win that could have very easily been more for Celtic. So yeah, I feel like we're back on track now. I feel like the panic is over, the mini crisis is over, and it's we're in a good place again, and I'm really looking forward to Saturday now.
Is that your dog approving of it as well, Ryan?
Yeah, I think Daisy's been a bit annoyed with the results recently, so I think she's quite happy now.
I just heard that there. She spoke more sense than I've ever spoken on the so like a bit of that. There you go. Everybody knows I'm a dog loving podcast here. I've got 4 of them of my own, so there you go. Used to have 3, but now I've got 4. Took Foster, temporary Foster of Paddy from Bosnia. You might
Paddy from Bosnia.
Yeah. You couldn't make that up, could you? But, So the family's increased to 4, but there you go. Get through it somehow. You know how it is. Anyway, now, Ange spoke on Saturday, Ryan. Champions again. You mentioned Tommy Burns and all of that. Saying that the fans are there, they're always there. Lots of fans were keen to hear what he was going to say, but he didn't address anything like his future. He just sort of, and then when he spoke to Sky after, he just said he lives for the beautiful football moments, and he wants a beautiful football moment by winning the treble. And nothing will disturb his focus from that. Can't ignore the fact that there's a swirling vortex of alleged interest from Tottenham Hotspur. No official comment being made by anybody. I didn't really expect them to address it. I would love them to address it, Ryan, but I didn't really expect them to address it. So it will come out in the wash. People reading into it by not addressing it, he's leaving, he's this, he's that. We live for the moment, Ryan. You enjoy him while he's here, and you enjoy the fact that Celtic could win a world record 8th treble on Saturday. What will be, will be.
Yeah, I don't think he would have. I think the reason why he wouldn't have addressed it, he probably would have addressed it if the season was over. But I think the fact is we've still got one more game before we complete what we're really looking for, which is that world record treble. I think if he was to have mentioned it, it would have diverted attention to it all, and I'm glad that he didn't. In a way, I would have liked it at the time because I'm worrying about it a wee bit. I'm like, I don't want him to leave us so soon. I'm really enjoying the football that we're playing and the sort of identity that we've got under Postecoglou. But yeah, it's one of those ones. I don't think he would have mentioned it when he was mentioning Tommy Burns. I could feel myself welling up. I feel like that's sort of kryptonite. Whenever you mention Tommy Burns, Celtic fans will just start crying. He's just one of our favourite sons, and he's just it's the most cliched thing that Celtic fans will say, but it's true. He just gets it. He just understands what it means to be a Celtic manager. He's such a great guy to have as the head of the football club, and I'm loving every minute of it. And that's the reason why we're also concerned. We're also concerned because we adore the guy. It's just the way it is. I'm just hoping that with regards to this Tottenham Hotspur chat, that Brendan Rodgers can do himself a favour and take that job if he's offered it rather than Ange Postecoglou. That's a way for him to get back on side of the Celtic fans if he just takes that one and fills up that vacancy. Thank you very much, Brendan.
Now, I'll flag this up. If you didn't read it, there's my opinion, Pete. Well, my big match verdict from Saturday, where Tommy Burns and all that gets a mention, Ryan, and also that special mention for the Tifo display, Ryan. Now, you were saying favourite son getting mentioned, you were welling up when Ange mentioned him. But the Tifo display had Jock Stein at one end, Willie Mail at the other, stand on the shoulders of giants. If you want to talk about tugging at your heartstrings, it was right there from the get-go as the guys came out the tunnel. Unbelievable display. It was excellent.
Yeah, it was really ambitious having all four ends being part of the display, but the North Curve, the Green Brigade, etc. They done a splendid job in creating such an incredible sort of mosaic across the four sections. It really added to it, and I feel like it was that was the start of what was to be an absolutely phenomenal day for all concerned. It really did set the tempo and set the atmosphere to a great level. So yeah, kudos to them for making that possible.
Correct. I thought it was excellent, and yeah, big up to them. Now, lots of comments coming in about Ange, so we may as well put them in, Ryan. Address them and let's see where. Okay, where are we now? Just trying to star the right ones. Michael McDonald, we've seen this show before and we know how it ends. A bit of pessimism from Michael, I guess. And Andrew Gilliat, I'll be devastated if Ange leaves it for the second time. He's missed the opportunity to prove that his football works. Brown Warrior, morning Brown Warrior, how you doing? At me, what will be no amount of talk or worry will change the future. Exactly, that's my thoughts on it as well. What will be. Once we Nugget Spurs are not in Europe, nobody wants to work for the chairman. Ange doesn't like a director of football. That's fair enough.
I've got to say, there's one sort of thing that I would say about that. I think Spurs are in a position where they really don't need Europe on their plate for next season. I think they need to focus on getting back to where they feel they belong in terms of the league table. So I think them missing out on Europe yesterday was a bit of a blessing in disguise for them, because the Conference League will just pile up their fixtures.
Yeah. Chilwell saying he's bricking it at the thought of Ange leaving. Fair enough. Edward Wyavos, Ange will finish most of his house and he might return to buy a big offer from Spurs that will set his kids up for life. Jerry are all coming in and saying, morning Jerry, about the Tifo, it was amazing. But yeah, Michael McDonald, Ryan said Ange doesn't address the best question because of the final. Stop kidding yourself. Well, why would he address it? Brown Warrior saying paper talk as Celtic Marshall unless you're towards that trophy overhaul. So lots of comments coming in about Ange. My main fear, PPG, is Ange possibly leaving. It's not he's actually leaving. It's who's going to provide us with the Ange ball afterwards. Succession planning, we've been talking about it, Ryan, for a while. And Ben 515, he said he was listening to another podcast and they say Celtic have offered Ange a better deal than Rodgers had with a bigger transfer budget. Again, that's all speculation, isn't it, Ryan?
Yeah.
At this moment in time, nobody has confirmed or denied those kind of stories swirling about the vortex. As I say, Tottenham's interest, alleged interest, don't even know if there's been an approach. Don't know. People speculating about Dermot Desmond being over, and that was the reason it was to offer him the biggest and best contract that a Celtic manager has ever had, make him the highest paid manager. Again, all kind of rumour, counter rumour. Nothing concrete has been said. And the manager himself saying Saturday he's waiting to get the cup final out the road and then we shall see. Isn't that right, Ryan? That's what he wants to do. So John Hill, Dermot Desmond knows what we have, give Ange what he deserves, turns us around and brought the feel-good factor back. And JM saying, after Brendan left, I will never not believe that anything can happen. I think that's the way a lot of Celtic supporters are feeling at this moment. Again, said it on Friday, Ryan, there's only one man who will dictate or say when he's leaving, and that's the man himself. So Brian Roberts coming in, taxi driver speculation, and Des Harkin. We have been privileged to have Ange, we just need to save our Welsh means. In the words of Alex Ferguson, no one is bigger than the club. Yeah, so it's there's a lot of worried Celtic fans here. Derek Crawford, is that worrying though, Tony? Surely if you're going nowhere, you would say it. You thought he had the right platform to say it in front of 60,000 of, adoring public, Ryan, and adoring public, but, consummate professional, he just thinks about the next game and he's got one more game to go, and I think maybe if the season had been over, then he may have addressed it.
That's what I think. So I think that as well. I think he would have done it if the season was over on Saturday, but the season isn't over. Why would they address his future if the season isn't even over yet? He can do that once if we win the treble. Can't get too ahead of ourselves. We still get a game to play, but if all goes well and he can lift those 3 trophies, then I don't think there's a better position to say that I'm staying than with every single trophy available to him. It'd be the strongest position for him. He'd have the supreme bragging rights across Scotland, and then he could just come out with that statement. I'm
also very much in Marquis' camp here. Look, lads, if he leaves, we'll deal with it when it happens. But he's here now, so enjoy it. Yeah, it's a case of that's our job. What will be, will be. I refuse to panic about it. Yeah, everybody loves Ange. We get it, right? He's been a fantastic manager. He's brought a fantastic brand of football, and we've enjoyed watching Celtic win 4 out of the 6 that he's competed for. Hopefully it'll be 5 out of 6, and we shall see what happens after that. And people are also saying, why would he take Celtic on a tour of Japan and South Korea if he was leaving? It's this whole 2 and 2 coming up with 5, right? So we shall wait and see what transpires. But I think the player's focus and his focus certainly is on Saturday and that attempt at winning a world record 8th domestic treble, Ryan. That sounds all right, doesn't it?
Sounds good to me. Yeah, I think we're all it's the most that Celtic fans, well, to be fair, Brendan Rodgers was pretty unified with the Celtic fans. We were happy with the job that he was doing, but I think this is the most since probably O'Neill that everybody's totally unified behind a manager that they're just desperate to see him stay. It's one of those ones that he's managed to captivate the Celtic support, and long may that continue. I think we all voice our concerns because we love the guy so much and we love the job that he's doing at Celtic. So yeah, I think it's a measure of the man about how sort of. I mean, I'll come out and say like I'm worried, but you know, at the same time, you do expect if he was to leave, and it's just hypothetically, you'd expect Celtic to bring in somebody that was suitably equipped, considering the structure that we've made with regards to Mark Lawwell, with regards to all the scouts. So in that sense, I think it would be pretty interesting if something was to happen to see what avenue we would go down. Would we get somebody else from the City group? But we'll get to that road when we'll talk about that road when we get to it eventually. But at the moment, Ange's here, Ange's going for a treble, and we should all just be enjoying every minute of it.
Correct. Now we shall endeavour to do that. And speaking of winning trophies, another Celtic manager won a trophy yesterday, Ryan. The Celtic women's team beat the Rangers women's team in the Scottish Cup final 2-0 at Hampden in the first ever women's final at Hampden. Very much one-way traffic, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, it was a nothing each at half time, obviously, but Celtic were dominating the possession. Rangers had a couple of sort of half chances. Then Tash Flint touches home a shot after a wee bit of a sort of rabble in the box. I seen that there was pictures of her at the Gala Gate on Saturday with a flare. She's totally endearing herself. That's a lone move that the Celtic women should make permanently, because I watched her last week against Hearts and she absolutely dominated the game. She was playing a wee bit deeper in that game against Rangers, but it seemed as if whenever she went forward, the Rangers players looked a wee bit scared of her and they were scared of her physicality. And she got the goal, and then I think it was O'Riordan scored the second goal, and that was that. Obviously, Rangers they brought a goal back, but VAR ruled it out. Some weird comments on the commentary saying that goal would have probably stood if VAR wasn't in place. I just think that's a totally pointless argument to make, to be honest, because if VAR's in place, then it isn't a goal. The goal's offside. It's not black and it's black and white with offside decisions with VAR. You're either right or you're not. So yeah, that was a weird one, but a well-deserved trophy for Fran Alonso. 2 years in a row now they've got that Scottish Cup trophy, and yeah, they definitely deserved a trophy after a really, really good season. I know there was disappointment in the final day, but a great season for Fran Alonso, and plenty more to come from him and his team, and they'll be hoping they can go one further in the league next season.
And speaking of Fran Alonso, there was wonderful footage of him breaking his Celtic TV interview. They burst into song and sang Celtic Glasgow. Oh, and if you've not seen it, go to YouTube and just watch it. You talk about somebody that gets it and the club just getting under your skin. He's standing there in the interview with a scarf, and he's just the happiest man on planet football. And yeah, well done to Fran Alonso and the girls, and I think they deservedly won the Scottish Cup and got some silverware for a wonderful season, because they did deserve it. And yeah, I think you have to just big up the women's team for coming up, just falling short, Ryan. Just they came up short in the league. They did their bit, they won their game, and they fell to a last minute goal from Glasgow City against Rangers, but showed yesterday why they were almost league champions by kind of domination of Rangers, wasn't it? For the more or less the whole game. And as you say, hopefully they can go one better next season and win that first Women's Premier League title. I'm sure that's what they'll target. And got a lot of comments coming in about the women's team, so I'll flag them up and I'll put them in. Let's have a look at them, shall we? Right, here we go. Right. Trying to do all this, Ryan. Make sure that you're not flicking up comments. No, it's not
It's a
easy.
minefield. It's a minefield.
It's very much. Sons of Scotland, how are you? How you doing? So happy for the ladies in Fran, well deserved. Correct, which certainly was. Hope we keep Flint, says Chilpel. Indeed, Derek Crawford, Fran Alonso, laughing emojis and clapping his hands. If you've not seen that clip, go and look at it. It's brilliant. Chilpel saying Flint's unbelievable. Yeah, and PPG, the Celtic women so need to get Natasha in like Flint signed long term. She's absolutely awesome. And Northampton Tim saying that was the first time we'd watched the ladies team start to finish. Really enjoyed the game. Fran the man, Celtic Glasgow, and Brian Roberts saying Celtic women manager was dancing around like a man possessed. That's kind of normal behaviour for him, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
so the girls' team were excellent yesterday. It was a very tough game mentally for the girls yesterday after what happened last week. It was, but they showed no after effects of that. Andrew Gillier saying great support, but Hampden Park was looking really dated. And Amy Young coming in, Flint's a unit of a girl, brilliant player. Hope Celtic sign her off. I think it'd be a brilliant signing. And she's just embraced it all, hasn't she? As you say, you saw the pictures of her with the flares enjoying the party and just getting really into it. And she can't speak highly enough of Celtic and their supporters. My ball coming in. Well done to the women. A great season. Great to have them playing at Paradise. Good support at Celtic Park. Euro games should be played at Celtic Park. Yeah, I agree with that. I think they could very well do with that. And Leslie, the girls never stop. Excellent. Lots of love for the girls on the comments there, Ryan. And yeah, I think I think everybody has embraced women's football certainly this season and taken a real shine to the girls' team, haven't they? They've enjoyed watching them, and their heart was breaking for them last week when it didn't work out. But they were bursting with pride with them this weekend for getting their hands on silverware, and it was reflective of a decent season for them, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a really tough result to take last week. Despite the fact that they won the game, they won it at a canter. To be fair, it was 2-0, but it could have been 4, 5, 6. Hearts offered nothing on the attacking side of things. But yeah, despite how tough that was to take, it didn't look as if it showed in that game yesterday. They played with a freedom. They were the only team that were trying to play football. It looked out of the two of them, out of the two teams, there was only one with a distinct style of play. I actually looked as if there was quite a few places between the two sides. If you would have watched that game as a neutral and watched the two teams, you would think there was a bit of a gap between the two teams. Celtic were just so much better on their opponents on the day. Obviously, I haven't watched a lot of Rangers women, so I wouldn't know if that's their usual sort of performance, but I don't think they turned up whatsoever, and Celtic certainly did. Again, they had chances in the first half. Jacinta hit the crossbar with a corner that nearly sneaked in the goal. But yeah, and there was obviously that chance. Was it Shen Menu that had the chance from midfield? She doesn't know what to do with regards to passing or shooting, so she kind of does an in between of both, and the chance goes wide. But they had their chances in the first half, and I'm just so glad that they got their 2 goals to sort of solidify their position in the second half. They totally deserved to win the game, and I'm delighted for everybody involved. It's another trophy for Celtic at the end of the day, so you can't really complain.
Yeah, all credit to them and that, and we applaud that and say well done, Fran and the girls. Now, on the site today, Ryan, you have written about trophy presentation day. We did the numbers game, and basically how Celtic annihilated Aberdeen. You want to get a read at that? You can give us a flavour for it on you go, Ryan. Sorry.
Yeah, I think annihilate was the right word, because when I was looking at the stats and doing it yesterday, I actually thought there was something wrong with the system, because Aberdeen's XG had 0.00. They had 0 shots and 0 on target. Now, I would expect a bit more from the third place team coming to Celtic Park to come and have a bit of a go. Yes, Celtic played really, really well on the day, but for your third place team to have no shots of any description on Joe Hart's goal. I mean, I think the most danger that we had was when Joe Hart jumped for that cross or jumped for that ball and he got a slight hit off the Aberdeen player. I can't remember who it was that bundled into him, but that was it. 0.00. There's a chart that I use in the article. It's the race chart of the XG that gets taken. It's only one line. There's usually 2 lines that go with that. It's only the Celtic line, because they're the only team that are contributing anything on the shots or the expected goal stat. Yeah, it still has a good read if you want to read about basically Celtic's performances. I mean, key passes. Guys like Matt O'Reilly, maybe who didn't get talked about as much when we were discussing the game. He still had a good game. He's still top of the charts when it comes to pressurising the opponents. His defensive style of play doesn't get talked about enough because he does put a lot of running in. It's just the way. I think it's because he's not aesthetically pleasing when it comes to watching him play football and the way he runs, but he does put a lot of work into the team from a defensive point of view. So a bit of a shout out for him. And yeah, just talking about the goals, I've just got the article up here. Kyogo's shot. So obviously it goes from 0 to 1 when it comes to XG. Kyogo's goal was 0.27, which gave him a 27% chance of scoring from that angle. But after he shoots, it's a 0.73. So his post-shot XG actually goes up because of how well Kyogo hits the shot for his first goal. I think that's one of my favourite goals of this season because he just swivels onto his left foot and then basically sits the goalkeeper down. Kelly Roos gets absolutely planted because he doesn't know where Kyogo is going. Yeah, one of those chances that I would say, and it's you don't want to compare the two, but it was a Larsson-esque finish from him, I would say.
Did you think there was a glitch in the matrix then because there was no kind of Aberdeen 0.0 shots at goal? Were you like...
See, yeah, I was waiting for Keanu Reeves to come out. But yeah, usually when you do these statistical pieces, you compare the two teams with their key passers and their top shooters. I could only use one graph, or one graph for the Celtic players, for the key passers, the table, and the shots, because there was no key passes made by Aberdeen players on no shots. So yeah, you would for the third place team, and I know that they've had an up and down season. To get third place for Barry Robson's incredible. He's done a great job, but at the same time, I would expect more from a team that have been getting good results recently. Especially they beat Rangers a couple of weeks ago, so I thought they would have came out and gave it a bit of a go, but they were chasing shadows. They were standing on the shoulders of giants in that game. I think they couldn't get near Celtic.
Now, here's hoping it's the same next week, Brian. You've only got one graph to discuss. Now, also on the website today, and myself and Ryan were talking about this off air before we come on, I've written a feature on the lesser spotted Bobo Balde, Ryan. Now, Balde, cult figure at the club, wonderful man, came away with a wonderful line, which is in the feature about him being the CEO of Bobo Balde, which is great. You'll remember it. But yeah, but he has kind of disappeared off the grid, Ryan. I've tried to get in touch with him and I've asked former players, which is the premise of this. So yeah, kind of APB out on Bobo Balde. Hopefully he's alive and well. But yeah, it's I just written it kind of because he never really appears at these functions, and most of the other players do, and he's the one that you kind of notable absentee, and everybody loved Big Bobo. So I was just kind of inquisitive as to his whereabouts, but nobody can tell me, and that's the kind of premise of this feature, isn't it, right?
Do you not think that adds to his mystique though as well?
Oh,
the fact that
it's just that cult and iconic status remains.
Now, I know me and you have a shared love of cult players. I absolutely love cult players, and this just adds to it for a guy that was so unmissable when you seen him in the Celtic defence. The fact that he's nowhere to be seen is just absolutely brilliant. It's just so Bobo Balde. I mean, Martin O'Neill, that one of his last moves was to give him 28 grand a week, 5-year contract.
Yeah.
Peter Lawwell must have been like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And can you blame him for wanting to stay for the duration of his contract? He wasn't going to get that money anywhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those ones. I remember him playing. Didn't he come on for a game start a game against Dundee United at Tannadice? That seems to really stick out in my head. It was like a fleeting appearance.
He did
understand. A lot of people. Yeah, and people were like, "Oh, Bobo's still here." He's been there,
yeah, so if
you got a good.
There you go.
Sorry.
No, see if you want to read that, so. But hey, it's. I was just making the point, but yeah, myself and Ryan we're cult players, and just thought I'd give him a mention. Ryan, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What a signing!
Yeah, he was tremendous. Yeah. Just a big, powerful footballer and an intimidating presence, and yeah, I think the Bobo's going to get you song. It says everything.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
I
You know?
think I don't think he would have lasted a minute in Ange Postecoglou's side. Unfortunately, he'd make Chris Julian look like Baresi, I think, or Van Dijk in this team. But yeah, as you were talking about in your article, I think it was Walter Smith said about Scott Nisbet that every pass is an adventure. It definitely was when it came to Bobo Balde. I think if you were to put Bobo Balde and Alexandro Bernabei in the same team, the passing stats would have been about 20%. It's for some people. I mean, what a defender, what an imposing defender! But just don't ask him to play any nice passes out from the back. I think it was one of these hoof ballers, but that was just a product of his time. Defenders weren't expected to do that at that point, so he done his job.
Yeah, strengths and weaknesses, isn't it, Ryan?
Without a doubt.
When you weigh it up, so yeah. But yeah, remember, Robert Highland says, remember Bobo going through Torre Andrew floor literally to win a header. Yeah. So the man mountain, big Bobo indeed. And Chill Paul saying, Tony, I'll give you next season to get the Greg Taylor song. Ben, yes, leave that with me. I've been a busy boy, as you can see. And Robert Gibson, that's the line I'm referring to. Robert Bobo once said that Peter Law was the CEO of Glasgow Celtic, but Bobo Balde, CEO of Bobo Balde. That's the line that featured in the piece. So go and have a read at it and see what you think and let me know your thoughts. Guys, that's 42 minutes. It always goes in quickly when you enjoy yourself. Thanks very much for your comments today, taking part. We will build up to the Scottish Cup final and the world record 8th treble attempt. Ryan, don't want to jinx it, as you said at the start.
Nah. We're getting closer, though. I can feel the fact that we're on the same week as it. It's getting closer, and we can talk about it now. I feel like the players can talk about a treble now, which is great. They can. I don't want them to talk too much about a treble. You don't want to jinx it, as we've talked about, but it's within their grasp. They just need to go out and take it.
They can address it, Ryan. They can mention the words treble now because that's the next game. There's one more to go. So there you go. Treble yell and all that, Ryan. Yep. Celtic, more and all that. If you're a Billy Idol fan, you'll get that reference, but there you have it. Now, we shall, as I say, build up to the Scottish Cup final on Saturday. Everybody looking forward to that. It can't come quick enough. Jerry O'Raw, thank you very much. Always appreciate it, Jerry. We enjoy talking to everybody and getting their thoughts on all matters Celtic. Ryan, it's meant to be a good week in terms of the weather. All week, which is rare. But so get the barbecues out, troops. Get whatever you're doing. Just have a happy Monday. It most certainly is. Myself and Ryan will go back to the grind day. Ryan, see what's moving and shaking in the world of Celtic today. But
that's it.
We'll join you again tomorrow. In fact, I think you might be off tomorrow, Ryan. Is that right? You enjoying a day off in the sun?
Yeah. We'll see what's happening. But yeah, I'm sure I'll be, even on my day off, I'll be talking about Celtic. I'm sure it's just that's the joys about working for a Celtic publication. Yeah, get to talk about what you love, which is absolutely brilliant. So yeah, what a time to be alive.
Derek Crawford, have a blessed day, everyone. God bless you all. Echo that sentiment. Brian Roberts, thanks again, guys. Dan Mac, hail. Troops, take it easy. We'll see you all tomorrow. Usual drill, same back channel, same time. All the best. Ryan, thank you very much for your contribution today. Always enjoy it. Robert Gibson saying, 2 down, 1 to go champions. And Andrew Galea saying, what a great weekend. Hope you all enjoyed it. Have a great week. Correct. Amundo, Northampton Town, hail, yes indeed. Now, before we go, if you haven't subscribed, you enjoyed the daily briefings and you want to subscribe to the website and subscribe to the Celtic Way website, and you'll support top quality football journalism covering the club you love in the process. That's what we endeavour to provide. Just visit, hit that button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Les D, cheers guys, hail. Guys are hail, great show legends. Thank you very much. Enjoy the day, champions. And Uncle Nobby's saying, which I love. God bless you, good guys. What a way to finish, Ryan. God bless you, good guys
That's
indeed. Take care. All the best.
Cheers, guys.